before I go and do anything, let's get back up in the attic area. I call it the attic. It's actually underneath the ground, even though we have to go up the stairs. Let's just keep the camera rolling, shall we? Let's keep the camera rolling. I'll get back up in here. We'll take a quick look at this so that you get the full Monty explanation of what's happening here, just like me. And I'm gonna close the tripod legs so they're not as tall. Don't get too dizzy up there as you're turning. Okay, let's get back up there. I'm enjoying making these videos for you, and I'm glad you always come through and keep me company when I'm doing something. That way I don't feel like I'm just on my own. Okay, now let's see, I was up here before, and the first exhaust fan that I took out has to be located about there. The other one is about 5 feet, but it goes in and then it probably zips over that way another 3 feet or so. And if I wanted to know exactly 100% for sure without cutting anything, I could measure from there on over to my door opening here, go down, figure out where that is, measure across the floor and all that to see if I could gain access to both of those exhaust fans from just taking out this plywood. And I'm not sure if I can or not. That's why we're going to go up through that other crawl hole first. But see, here's your exhaust pipe here. And then it wides and catches both exhaust fans over there. Where does it go from here? Look, it goes way down here. It keeps going, doesn't it? And it comes, you see, it's still going, and it goes outside, right here, it goes through this wall, and then we're on the outside of the house. Well, there should be another flap. There's a little cone on the outside, and I don't know, lots of times they'll have another flap right there. Well, that flap is supposed to be so that when it's windy, you don't get the wind whipping up and coming through here, going back down inside your house. Well, my guess is the flap outside of here might have dislodged, and it's not open, let's say. Okay, and when it's real windy outside, the wind comes in here. We had 30-40 mile an hour winds the other day, and it could blow wind up through here all the way down there, and boom, where that rat nest was that I thought was all cleaned out, pushed some of the leaves back in to the exhaust fan cover, came out over by the toilet. And that's my theory about no rat activity, because we haven't heard any rats, we haven't caught any rats lately. We only caught one from before. Okay, here's my rat traps that are set. They're just big, huge mouse traps. Okay, they're overly sized mouse traps. And I don't really think we have any rats here, but I still have to go through this whole thing to clean everything out and reattach the aluminum to that one exhaust fan for sure. Maybe the other one is like that too. And this stuff is pretty strong, but see, I just put a dent in it just by trying to squeeze it with my thumb. See that dent? Jeez. And it's just aluminum, and it comes at the store. It's only like maybe a couple feet long, but it's maybe actually 8 feet long or so, and then you pull it out and it extends out to whatever length you want or whatever, and then you chop it off and attach it, and generally they'll put sheet metal screws in it, and then they'll run some duct tape around it. And my guess is on that little housing But the housing, what I don't like on exhaust fans, the housing flange only extends out a little bit, and it should extend out further to then put the flex pipe on it. But I think it only sticks out maybe 3/4 of an inch or so, and they probably put a couple screws in it and couldn't reach the underneath side, and the rat came up, pushed on it, and just had to work at it a little bit and found out, hey, I could move it a little bit. Where does this go? And thus, boom, the rat's nest. And you might be wondering, where did he get all of the leaves from to make his bed? Well, down here, here's one right here. See, look at all the rat droppings in here. And there's a hole there that goes, an access hole that goes into another area. If you watch those videos, remember, in that area over there, there was a whole pile of leaves. I've been sitting there since this house was built 18 years ago. A pile of dead leaves, green, and they've not browned all the way. Some of them are green, some of them are brown. See here? And this is where the trail, the rat's gone from over there, because I saw some other rat droppings on the plastic, and then he jumped over that, came over here, went over here, did his business, probably climbed up right over there or along here, and got up in there. It's amazing what they can do, how agile they are. And then he made his nest back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with all of his leaves. Here's another leaf. So, you know, that's where they got the leaves from. Okay, so anyways, that's what we got coming up in here. So again, I may end up having to cut this plywood out, but before I do that, I'm going to take some measurements while I'm up here, see exactly where these two come out, see if I can even remotely possibly be able to shimmy through here to get to the locations by taking this out. But before I cut that, I'm going to go over on the other side and see if I can gain access to that crawl hole and see if I can shimmy up in there, take my nail bag off, and think really small, get the flashlight in there, crawl through there. It's a little ways to crawl, and see if I can access those ceiling fans, those exhaust fans from that side. And if I can do that, and if I feel comfortable enough thinking I can fix everything from that side, I think I'll do that. Then I can keep all this plywood intact, okay? But if not, then I'll get up through here. All right, so now that I have my game plan, I'm gonna get my tape measure out, measure from there over to here, transfer it out to the room, go across. And in fact, I could measure up to that concrete wall there too, and do some of that, and we'll get on with the next phase of our project. Okay, I measured from the door, from the opening of the door, the left-hand edge is about where the ladder is, where the edge of that is, and so it's a process of elimination, 11.5 feet from there. I've got my tape measure here. I'm just going to kind of lay it out here. 11.5 feet is to the concrete wall. Okay, and so I'm gonna have my tape measure here, and I'm just gonna kind of hold it out about 12 feet or so, 13 feet maybe. Lock it. Need some light on the subject here. Okay, and then I'm gonna line up the edge of this to the edge of where that door is, and I'm just gonna kind of eyeball and see where I am in relation to that, and it looks like I'm pretty close, about right there. Okay, maybe just a little bit more, right? Okay. Now I'm going to come over here 11.5 feet, 9, 10, 11 and a half is where that concrete wall is. Okay? Inside the attic, or inside that crawl space. I call it an attic, but it's really not an attic. That's the that's underneath the ground. So, not the ceiling. Okay? So now, in order to figure out where I want to know where this wall is. Okay, the back side of the sink wall between the two bathrooms. Okay? And so from that pencil, that's where that concrete wall is. And I can measure over to there 7 feet to that edge of the bathroom. 7.5, 7 feet. What was it? 7 feet to there. Okay. So then I'll measure from that across 7 feet to the back side of that. And see, that's 6 feet. That's about 6 feet to that wall. Ooh. Oh, okay. That's 6 feet to that wall. And where the concrete wall is 7 feet, so I know I got about a foot to deal with, and then it was 32 inches back from that to this first ceiling fan. And then you see, so that tells me about a foot beyond this is where that concrete wall is in there. And so if I were to take that plywood off up above, it should go just beyond this wall.